Hey guys, Josh here. Welcome to another episode of Confessions of a Caster, Part 6. And I thought about, let's talk about this when you get the gig, okay? Part 6, when you get the gig. When you get the gig that you've been going after for a very, very long time. What you gotta do, okay? So, when I got my first gig with ESL in the Asian RMR qualifier, not Asian, was it? Yeah, it was Asian RMR qualifiers, or was it DreamHack? I'm not sure. But I think it was RMR qualifiers. That's just a sideshow. Don't worry about that. Someone will probably correct me in the comments. Okay, it always happens. But basically the first thing I did, me and Wix got called up, got my duo. I think they'd been eyeing me for quite a while because they've been like, hey, this guy can cast by himself. He's very dedicated to his craft, knows a lot of the players, and basically very good analysis on the end as well, which helps out. Now, a lot of key things that I was looking at as well was, what do you do when you get the gig? What do you have to do? And there's a term calling phoning it in, where you're basically improvising and basically operating with very little practice, but you don't want to be doing that, okay? Phoning it in is the number one gold rule you don't want to be doing, okay? So what are you going to do when you get the gig? Everyone thinks, you just look at the money and be like $100 for an hour, easy peasy, but you want to be the best person there is for that job, okay? You want to make sure that they not just pay you $100 in the future, you can up yourself and be like 200, saying that, I bring unrivaled coverage that no one else can really bring, and the foresight that no one else can bring as well. I can make your tournament sound a lot bigger and a lot better as well, and also other content as well that you may provide from it, as well as the ability to provide shoulder content. Now with the gig, what the things you got to do is, first of all, is the basics, okay? The basics is the teams are in a tournament, the previous matchups as well, and the players and what rosters moves that have changed and stuff like that. Previous BO3s that teams may have placed as well. If you don't know the teams in the tournament, because there's open qualifiers and you're just doing the closed qualifiers, try to learn as quickly as you can. Learn how to pronounce the players' names. That's another one. Learn how to pronounce the players' names so you don't look like a bit of a dummy. And sometimes watch a few demos here and there. Watch a few other casters casting it. See if you can learn some pronunciations there. Go to the players directly, even DM the players. Most of the players' DMs are open, so you can just DM them and be like, hey, how to pronounce this name? Even if not, you can basically talk to IGL and Orpa as well, and they can talk to their teammates and just give you the information then and there. Now, at the same time as well, you want to make sure you know who the IGL and Orpa is, and if there's any rivalries between certain teams, sometimes you may have to ham it up, like, teams, versus each other, a lot of BO3s and stuff like that, so they know each other a lot, and then you're going to you can potentially build a storyline or rivalry where one team's won the 6 out of last 7 and the underdogs are trying to get one back in and stuff like that. Sometimes you got to create your own storylines. Just because they're not true doesn't mean that you don't do it. Obviously, make sure it's not libelous and defamatory, but make it hyped up in a way that the match matters a lot more than it actually does. Now, a lot of people complain about it. Don't listen to them, okay? If you can make a boring match sound exciting, you are doing your good job as a caster, and you're doing a good job by the gig, okay? That's what me and Wix did, okay? Just make it exciting. Even if it could be the most boringest game, stuff like that. Try to build on something else. Try to build, maybe it's a bit of a comeback and stuff like that as well. It works well in football as well, as I've seen on other sports casts. Now, with the gig as well, make sure you're doing a lot of voluntary casts as well to make sure you're not rusty going into the job. Some casters I see do it as well, 2Tap, Matzy, I saw them doing a lot of CSGO casts when they had a gig in CSGO. Make sure you practice, okay? You don't want to go in rusty, okay? You don't want to call something an op or a sheriff on the major, cough cough DDK, okay? You don't want to do that. So practice, 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 and you see why I'm telling you guys to ask for more. If you're getting 27 EU per map, you're getting less than minimum wage for how much work you're going to put in there, unless you want to just phone it in all day. Reason why phoning it in is bad is that the viewer will get disengaged, and the viewer will wonder if, this cast is actually interested in the game. I mean, there's the infamous example where, not Neokai, wrong person, where you could see that the caster was not even interested in the game. I think it was one of the Bulgarian teams, Skade, I think, brought it up, or was it Fate? I'm not too sure. They brought it up saying, can we get some better casters? I think it was Double Magic. He's like, what are these casters doing? Is this guy probably slumped back in a chair like this, being like, and he gets killed down long. Yep. Stuff like that. Not hyped, not engaged, and probably doing something else, okay? Those are the sort of casters you do not want as they're getting a gig. And TOs will look downly on you for that, okay? Because when you get your first gig, it's your first opportunity to show your mettle. If you show absolute crap, you're not going to be looked at a second time unless they're desperate for talent. So do your research, talk to the players, you don't have to get a personal relationship with the players. Personal relationships even better. But get to know the players, get to know the IGL, get to know the stats and stuff like that. If to go to your rivals with any players and stuff like that, basically ham it up, make it a good show, and really just slam dunk it and be like, hey, you can't run this tournament without us, okay? That's pretty much it. And you got to take these opportunities as well. Now, with getting the gig as well, congratulations, obviously. Congratulations is a lawsuit. But there's going to be times when you don't get the gig. And now we're going to talk about when you don't get the gig. When you don't get the gig and you see other people get it, and you're probably, let's say, maybe you're the only one, or you got a few others as well, do not complain about it on Twitter, okay? Do not try to socially leverage on Twitter. What I mean about this being like, you can say, damn, didn't get the gig, need to push harder, need to motivate harder. That's a different attitude to it. Saying you didn't get the gig because of nepotism, because the TO hates you, and you don't have a good relationship with the TO, and all that stuff, and like saying the TO is bad for not inviting you, and also saying the TO is just giving you junk games, and the TO is just secretly evil and they're just serving their friends, probably won't win you any rewards with the TO, and probably most likely tell them to not hire you ever again, and it's like kind of sabotaging the relationship before it even really begins, especially when it's not even true. Okay, if you got receipts of said group not trying to make sure you're getting crowded out of the seat, you can put the receipts on, because you're gonna lose. It's either a lose-lose situation, so you might as well tell people about it. But never whinge about the TO. Never leverage the TO as well. It's very frustrating for TOs when a community member or a talent is just like, I am esports or something like that. As much as Foreign's quote and meme kind of thing is a crowd cry of it, there's a lot of people who think they're a lot better and bigger than they actually are. I mean, we can just say Bardoff, for one example, was one of them, basically, where he just didn't want to cast a show match because he didn't feel like it was good enough for him, and everyone's there to see him and none of the other casters, which is completely and utterly false. I think Sadokist, I'm going to say, is probably one of the best play-by-play casters ever, and I think a lot of people rather him than Bardoff casting the game anyway, if you want to go for comparison's sake, because Sadokist has this unique ability and a good vocabulary to make the game exciting more than it actually is. And also, he can cast a lot of other sports titles as well. And the only downside with Sadokist is the off-field behavior part, okay? When he said, certain word on stream that you should be saying, and pretty much got lost a lot of his gigs that way. Just be aware of that as well. Your off-sports behavior also matters. So basically on your social media, I'm not telling you to just be a tone-deaf, reserve bank statesman on your Twitter and stuff like that, but be engaged and be a bit positive with your audience, okay? Have a bit of fun, have a bit of personality, have a bit of flair. People like it when people have content and can see what they're doing and what sort of person they are before they hire them. So if you're a scumbag, don't show that you're a scumbag on Twitter, okay? Just kidding, okay? Just show you have some personality. If you do have some push and you do push back and stuff like that, they could see it as a bit of an issue, but if you're pushing back with a purpose and they see that you only do it when things get really, really bad and, you got some integrity behind your word as well, they might probably hire you for it as well. The main thing is, keep a good off-field behavior. Don't get into any unnecessary arguments or fights with talent. And yeah, just be prepared. Preparation is key in this industry to go from a good caster to a better caster. And you need to prepare your, regiment respectively, and also, properly as well. So if you don't get the gig, what are you going to do? If you do get the gig, what are you going to do? This sort of thing as well. Now, last but not least, with gigs as well, once you've finished a gig, make sure you prepare your invoice and send it to the people as per their instructions, okay? Invoicing can be rough. Make sure you keep a good system, maybe a MyOb or Xerox or anything like that in the background, so you know how much you're going to give the tax man, okay? There's a bit of financial planning as well. Be prepared to keep some of your casting money aside for tax, because you'll be paying tax 100%. Because the money you get is tax-free, or not, it's taxable, but it's not tax-free. So you gotta, what I'm saying is it's before tax, basically, okay? And you need to make sure you have a allocated tax reserve to pay said tax on your casting. So be aware of that as well. And after that, with the gig, even after I said, just have fun. Have a good time, okay? And be aware of the broadcasting rules as well, things to not promote. I mean, Intel obviously don't promote AMD on an Intel stream and stuff like that. Just be good, be champions, be great. Have a great day, guys.